You know, New Jersey was already bad enough. The state seems to just be like the suburb of two other states. So I live in South Jersey, which is the suburbs of Philadelphia, but we're across the river. So in New Jersey, we're in New Jersey, we're not in Pennsylvania. And then if you're up north in, say, like Union City or Jersey City or Bayonne, you're in the New York City metro, like actually part of the metropolitan area. It's only a couple minutes to like hop on a train and go into Manhattan, but you're still not in New York. Now, I guess they have Newark and they have Trenton and stuff like that, but New Jersey, it was already really bad. And then COVID hit. And the governor of New Jersey, who is one of the most spineless, pathetic, and stupid human beings in this country, maybe on the planet, started shutting things down, and it made no sense. There was no rhyme or reason. I'll tell you what it is. The governor of New Jersey, he's a Democrat, and he's a coward. He has no spine. He is an absolute coward. And I'll tell you what I mean by this. These Democratic governors like Wolf, like Cuomo, they don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to take responsibility for the fact that a pandemic is happening and they're in charge. So they just go to the 10th degree, they crank it up to 10, destroying everything, and then say it's COVID's fault. That way they can claim we were doing better than that state. We have less deaths per capita than that state, while people suffer and go hungry. Here's the story. Almost 1/3 of small businesses in New Jersey have been closed. Wow. 1/3. Why? For what reason? Because they don't want to accept responsibility. They don't. They would rather destroy everyone's lives and contribute to the largest transfer of wealth to large businesses. The Hill reports 1/3 of small businesses in New Jersey have closed down, according to a report from Star Ledger newspaper. Quote, "It's really bad. And without federal dollars coming into New Jersey, the Main Street stores and other establishments are not going to make it through the winter," said Eileen Keene, the state director of the National Federation of Independent Business. Harvard-based data project tracktherecovery.org estimated that 31% of businesses have closed down so far as of November 9th. This number is just above the national average estimated by the website. The New Jersey Business and Industry Association reported similar numbers, estimating 28% of businesses had closed down by October. The newspaper notes that despite the holiday shopping season, business leaders are still concerned that the trend could get worse as stimulus talks stall on Capitol Hill. New Jersey, like most of the U.S., is currently experiencing a surge of new COVID cases. Over 329,000 cases and nearly 17,000 deaths have been reported. On November 21st, New Jersey recorded 4,669 cases, the most it has ever reported in a single day. Last week, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy was harassed by hecklers who shouted at him while he and his family ate at an outdoor restaurant. Speaking to CBS this morning, Murphy said he understood the overwhelming amount of stress. Quote, "The stress levels are exceptionally high. You've lost a job. You've lost a business. You've lost a loved one. I can't blame folks for being stressful," said Murphy. Many experts have warned that action must be made soon as benefits related to the CARES Act are expected to expire at the end of the year. This includes expanded unemployment benefits as well as the moratorium on evictions. I'm not entirely convinced it's going to get done. You see, Trump and the Republicans are dealing with the election. And so I don't know what's going to happen with the stimulus. Some have said we shouldn't have it. The vaccine should be the stimulus and everyone should get back to work. But here's basically the point I'm trying to make. If one person dies and there's no lockdown, then everyone's going to blame the governor. So he says, I don't know, lock it down then. Well, people are still going to die, but he's going to say, hey, but I locked it down. You can point out the World Health Organization said it's a last resort. You shouldn't do it. Well, Joe, I don't want people to die. Even if it saves, what did they say? They say, even if it saves one person, right? Okay. They're cowards. They don't want to look the people in the eye and say, we cannot destroy our economy because people will suffer and starve. We cannot tell people they can't have their lives or their businesses or their ownership anymore just because there's a pandemic, because pandemics will happen. Be safe, wear a mask, use hand sanitizer, and you might still get sick, and others will as well. But we need to recognize the world is not candy cane, Skittles, and rainbows. It's not going to be always perfect all the time. Sometimes a bear can wander into your neighborhood. What do? You deal with it. Sometimes people get bit by sharks. We're not going to go and put up shark nets everywhere because sometimes it happens. Now we have a pandemic. Guess what? Pandemics happen, and you can't control nature. You can try. I'll tell you how absurd everything's gotten. Here's a story from Vice. When does outside become inside? We asked the experts. As rules around dining shift rapidly, it's unclear if restaurants can reach a comfortable and COVID-safe definition of outdoors. Take a look at this photo. This appears to be, I'm not sure if it's New York, maybe it's not, but there is a structure built in the street with wood, and it's got windows, and that's their outdoor dining. No joke. You are allowed to eat inside so long as you are inside a building that's outside of the business's actual primary inside. Yeah, that's where we're at. You see, the lockdowns make no sense. It just destroys the businesses for those who can't do something absurd like build a new location that's still indoors. What's the point of calling it outdoors if you're in a confined space with people who are probably coughing? They say, months ago, the movers and shakers at the CDC told us it was safe, to an extent, at least, to gather outdoors in a distant mask-wearing fashion. Drive-in movies, picnics, park karaoke, long walks, bike rides, porch hangouts, and nature-centric vacations ensued. And restaurants across the country took note and opened up their outdoor capacity too. But as winter creeps up everywhere in the U.S. that experiences seasons, outdoor dining has started to look a little bit different, a little more enclosed. Gone are the days when all restaurants needed to set diners up for the alfresco experience was a few beer-branded umbrellas and a stand-up team of servers. Now, outdoor diners behold the great COVID-19 compliant outdoors. Canopy tents and vinyl cabins bloom. Makeshift wood and plexiglass huts dot the horizon, and quasi-colored, beroofed patios hurriedly outfitted with space heaters and crinkly astronaut blankets emit a soft glow from their hanging LED lights. Isn't nature beautiful? Here's a tweet from James Hamblin. He says, outdoor dining has gradually escalated into what might be reasonably called buildings. Look at these photos. This is some of the most ridiculous trash I have ever seen. They're just building buildings. They're putting windows up. They're putting up walls and seats and lights and heat. They're just building new buildings. So what's the point of all of this? What's the point of the lockdown if this is acceptable? To destroy the businesses that can't afford to do this? Yep, perhaps. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And perhaps these wealthy governors like it. They're wealthy. They're not poor and they don't care about you. So what do we do? Well, in my opinion, just shows you how absurd the whole thing is. Perhaps we should just reopen. And if you're scared, you can stay home. And if I want to go out, I will. A lot of people, I see leftists saying things like, when you go out and spread this, you're infringing my rights. No. It is my right to get sick and die if I so choose. Why, we had a woman in Canada who was scared of the COVID lockdown, so she asked a doctor to literally kill her. And he did, while people stood around singing. Why? Well, medically assisted suicide is her choice. If someone wants to go outside and they could get sick, guess what? That's their choice. Now, if you're scared you might get sick, you stay home. Think about how crazy it would be if we functioned this way on every single issue. I'm worried that I might get hit by your car, so you're not allowed to drive anymore. Okay, ban all the cars. Because car accidents happen all the time. And they kill tons of people every single year. And we can stop it if we just stop allowing people to go out with their cars. How simple is that? Now, when you get hit by a car, guess what? It's not your fault. It could be your fault, but usually it's the fault of the driver. But we know it happens and you still cross the road. They say that the pandemic is worse and all that stuff. Fine. But listen, I'm pretty sure if you get hit by a car, you have a greater chance of dying than if you get COVID. Now, some might be saying, yes, but your chance of getting hit by a car is less. We're not talking about the likelihood you get sick. We're talking about the fear people have about going outside. So if you fear getting hit by a car, well, you can't make me stop driving. And if you fear COVID, it's up to you to stay away from people and stay safe. I think wearing a mask is fine. I think there's an easy middle ground where we say, here's what we're willing to do to mitigate the spread. Wearing a mask, for instance, socially distancing, but locking everything down so that people just build new buildings makes literally no sense. And this is all the proof you need that we are wasting our time on something that makes no sense and will not work. So go ahead, make all those claims, say we should lock everything down. New Jersey already has very poor areas that are suffering. Why make it worse? It's creepy, I tell you that. It's super, super creepy. There's never going to be an easy way to solve issues, through the law. It just doesn't make sense. I remember when they banned smoking in bars. I was in Arizona with my friend. They cut like a 1 square foot hole in the roof because that qualified them to be outdoors. No kidding. They were like, yeah, we put a hole in the corner of the room. Now everyone can smoke. I'm like, but we're inside. Yeah, except for that hole in the ceiling, which makes it outside. Just 1 square foot. I'm like, what? What if it rains? And they're like, it doesn't rain in Arizona. And I was like, okay, good point. How dumb. How absolutely absurd. So look, man, at a certain point, I'm getting tired of talking about it. Because what's the point? They're going to keep doing it. That's it. We need more lawsuits, I guess. But until then, people are going to find ways to bypass this stuff. I'll leave it there. I got one more segment coming up in a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.